Good evening. The question that begs tonight is, did President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga open a can of worms with their criticism of the handling of business in Parliament? On one hand, President William Ruto says the hallowed chambers are chambers of corruption. On the other, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga wants the abolishment of CDF as well as the summoning of governors by the Senate. That has attracted a lot of attention and criticism from both chambers. We have details lined up for you tonight.
And whilst that is happening, it will be the plenary way and not committee. This is after senators abandoned the proposal by the Senate Majority Leader Arange to have this matter being done on the committee stage, and so now it will be going to the plenary. And this also comes after the majority leader, the member of County Assembly of Kericho, says that he has new revelations that in addition to the 85 million that was sent to suppliers and officers, there's more, 26 million, saying that these revelations, they will be making them public more at the Senate next week when this hearings begins on Wednesday.
I don't know how much leverage he has on that matter, bearing in mind that he actually is the senator and is deemed an interested party, but then we'll see how the speaker rules regarding those revelations. First things first, here are tonight's highlights. Suspended. High Court temporarily stops the implementation of President Ruto's multi-agency team on war against corruption.
Kuwasili kwake Bwana Legathi kwetu ni kuwasili ya kawaida kama Mkenya mwingine ule anarejea injini.
Police Inspector General Douglas Kanja terms as an ordinary affair the much publicized Thursday return of former DP Rigathi Gachagua from the United States. There are no enforced disappearances. Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen says all arrested persons can be accounted for. And Senate opts for a plenary hearing of the grounds of impeaching Kericho Governor Eric Mutai.
Thank you so much for choosing KBC Channel 1 to inform you this Wednesday night, your own Prime Edition. I'm Doreen. Arange Lusimora is our sign language interpreter.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. You're very much welcome to the broadcast.
The High Court has temporarily halted the implementation of the presidential multi-agency team on the war against corruption until a petition filed challenging its illegality is heard and determined.
Judge Bahati Mwamuye issued the orders on Wednesday following a case lodged that claimed the move by the president is unconstitutional and amounts to duplication of roles already vested in existing independent institutions like the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, among others.
We need to bring the members of the executive, at least the ministers, to come so that we can have a meeting of minds between the executive and the legislature on matters that are of national importance.
Barely a day after President William Ruto established the presidential multi-agency team on the war against corruption through an executive proclamation to spur the government's renewed fight against corruption.
Let us stop the extortion. Yes. Very few leaders can stand here and tell you to stop the extortion that is going on in Parliament. I'm telling you the truth. Very few leaders. Because we like making peace with mediocrity. Oh, and they're trying to explain things that we shouldn't be explaining. Now let me ask you, friends, we are all friends here. Yeah, we are one team, or so I guess. This fellow who is called chairman of welfare in committees, what is their job? What is their job? Extortion, that's it. And that is what Prime Minister is saying.
A legal battle is looming at the corridors of justice, with 4 petitioners led by Dr. Magare Kigenyi and Eliud Matindi moving to court to block the move, terming it irregular, unconstitutional and illegal. In court papers seen by KBC TV, the petitioners argue the president has no authority to create a new anti-graft body, saying the move duplicates the mandate of independent institutions like the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Multi-agency team on the war against corruption undermines the independence of key state agencies, including the Central Bank of Kenya, the Kenya Revenue Authority and the Asset Recovery Agency, all of which already play a role in financial oversight and anti-corruption efforts. Justice Bahati Mawuya has since issued the temporary orders barring implementation of the president's multi-agency team on the war against corruption team. The judge has directed the respondents to file their responses by August 29th, ahead of a mention set for September 9th, 2025. Letua Debra for Prime Edition.
Now, ahead of the return of the second Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, has described the much publicized arrival of Gachagua, who is the leader for the Democracy for Citizens Party, that is DCP from the US, as an ordinary affair.
Speaking on Wednesday after joint dialogues with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, Kanja says the officers are ready to act should his return trigger unrest, assuring the public of their safety.
Abdiaziz Hashim has details.
A day after the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen termed the return and Democracy for Citizens Party DCP leader Rigathi Gachagua from the United States of America on Thursday as a threat to national stability.
Kwa wale wote ambao mtu yote akivuja sheria bila shaka pia na anashughulikiwa namna hiyo kwa mujibu wa sheria.
The National Police Service has sought to allay fears of unrest ahead of the return of Gachagua into the country through JKIA.
Tunasema kuwasili kwake Bwana Rigathi kwetu ni kuwasili ya kawaida kama Mkenya mwingine ule anarejea injini.
Speaking on Wednesday after a joint dialogue with the United Nations Development Programme UNDP on training and capacity building, IG Kanja stated that the police is fully in charge of security arrangements at JKIA and expects normalcy during Gachagua's landing at the airport.
Kwa hivyo sisi hatuna shida hata kidogo. Akifika anafika na kuelekea kama wale wengine vile wanafanya, sio? Na ningekumbusha zaidi, sisi wajibu wetu ni moja, kuona tunaweka usalama vile anatakikana kwa nchi yetu yote, what we call safety and security to the people.
The Interior Cabinet Secretary had initially indicated that the government is prepared to take legal action should the DCP mobilization, which calls for supporters to throng at the protected area, degenerate into lawlessness.
We are well informed, and we know that tomorrow national security agencies will be in tow both at the airport and during the procession. As such, we want to make this clear. We are a peaceful people, and our meet and greet the Nairobi people tomorrow is as such.
Hata ile makosa ambayo mnajaribu kumwekelea ni makosa ambayo haina msingi.
Tunakaribisha Rigathi Gachagua kwa sababu ni mtoto wetu, ni mtoto amezaliwa hapa Kenya. Hatuoni makosa yoyote ya kwenda kwenye alienda kwenda kutembea na kurudi Kenya.
Hakuna mtu yote ambao wako above the law. Kwa hivyo kama kuna sheria yote ambayo imefujwa, then statements zinaandikwa ni kweli, lakini mpaka hapo sisi hatuna shida.
Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
Away from that, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has denied claims by the human rights activist that some of the 1,500 arrested youths during the June and July protest are missing and some are detained without legal representation.
Speaking in Okalao, Nyandarua County during the the 30th Jukwaa la Usalama Security Tour, the arrested persons can be accounted for. He noted that some who were arrested had been released while the cases are still ongoing.
He, however, said the claims of the missing persons should be reported to the nearest police station for investigations.
On the allegations of a Chief Justice Murkomen's cyberbullying of judges, Murkomen faulted the judiciary for abetting the vice.
My message to the Chief Justice is that we are all being bullied. The only problem is that you have normalized, as judiciary, you have normalized the bullying of executive members and the legislature members. Now, when it catches up with you, ndio mnasikia uchungu. Lakini every time tukistaki mtu kwa sababu ametusi mtu kwa social media, amefanya false allegations against somebody, police officers wakishika huyo mtu wapeleka kotini, it is the judges and the magistrates who sometimes insult the police officer, insult DPP, and insult the executive kwamba we are attacking freedoms.
The Senate, in the meantime, will conduct a plenary hearing into the impeachment motion against Kericho Governor Eric Mutai.
This is after the senators abandoned a proposal to establish a special committee to investigate the charges.
Mutai was impeached by the County Assembly of Kericho, that is last Friday, in a process that he has termed as legally flawed.
The governor is accused of gross violation of the Constitution and other laws, as well as abuse of office.
Kericho Governor Eric Mutai has a date with Senate next week to determine whether he will continue serving as the county boss or not. His fate will be decided in the plenary after the senators rejected a motion to form an 11-member committee to investigate the matter.
The leader of minority, Senator Justice Retired Stewart Mazayo, to second this motion.
Mimi nakataa. The Senate Speaker Amason Kingi directed the clerk of the Senate to invite all concerned parties to appear in Senate on Thursday this week and file their responses by Monday next week.
The Senate shall then investigate the matter in plenary on Wednesday, 27th of August 2025, Thursday, 28th of August 2025, and Friday, 29th of August 2025.
The motion to oust the governor was tabled by Sigowet Ward MCA Kiprotich Rogonyi, who accused Governor Mutai of gross violation of the Constitution, abuse of office, and mismanagement of county resources. 33 out of 47 members of the Kericho County Assembly voted to impeach Mutai. A section of the MCAs have come up with fresh allegations of fictitious payments by the county government. The MCAs, led by their majority leader, now claim that apart from 85 million shillings flagged last week, another 26 million shillings was allegedly paid to suppliers for goods and services that were never delivered.
More payments were made between June of 2025 and 10th of July when the county government or the IFMIS was actually closing.
Governor Mutai previously survived an impeachment attempt in October 2024 after the motion was dismissed on technical grounds. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Time for us to deal with our first breather. But of course, a reminder that later in this bulletin, we'll be engaging the Principal Secretary in the State Department for Investments Promotion. That is Hassan Abubakar Hassan. And we'll be talking about investments promotion and really what the Kenya Kwanza government has been able to achieve in that space.
That's right. That and plenty more, including business and sports, coming your way after this breather. Stay with us.
Hello there. Do you want to own a home? Welcome to Boma Yangu, a Kenyan government initiative offering affordable home ownership opportunities to every Kenyan. We have projects across the entire country. With a deposit of 5% the value of the house and a fixed interest rate of as low as 3%, your journey to home ownership begins. Log in to the eCitizen portal or dial *832#. Register with 200 shillings only and start saving via mobile money, debit card or credit card to achieve the required deposit. From the listed housing developments, select your preferred location and apply for a housing unit to begin your journey towards home ownership. Prices start from 640,000 Kenya shillings. Visit Boma Yangu at www.bomayangu.go.ke. Brought to you by Affordable Housing Board. Makao Bora, Jukumu letu.
Hii ni mpya! Epuka watalike nyumbani! Ni mpya! Tuko na aina nyingi! Wajiproof! Hata hizi kama mpya! Yote tuko nayo hata sisi! Kenya's first tintable waterproof in paint.
Mimi huyu. Twende? Boss, uko sawa?
Niko sawa, ni vile niko na calls mingi. It's a busy day, you know.
Kazi lazima ichape.
By the way, nice background.
Faster speeds, better experiences. Over 50 million Kenyans. One network. Safaricom. Popote ulipo.
Wait.
Premium flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Hutumia mbolea inayoitwa Elgon Dhabiti DAP kwa upanzi wa mimea yenye afya bora. Halafu natumia mbolea ya Dhabiti CAN ama Dhabiti Urea kwa ukuaji wa mimea bora. Hii imenisaidia kupata mavuno mengi nikilinganisha na siku za hapo mbeleni.
Mbolea ya Elgon Dhabiti inapatikana kwa viwango vya kilo 10, 25 na kilo 50 kote nchini. Elgon Kenya Limited.
Nine additional minutes added. Oh, well, it's not going to matter now, is it? Because Nigeria, against the 10 men. Well, these goals and this result, in the grander scheme of things, have come too late for Nigeria when the pressure was already off, when they were already out. But their role tonight is that
We are real people who give real care. Visit www.definiteassurance.com or email info@definiteassurance.com for more information, or contact 0708-247-247 or 0788-247-247. Definite Assurance. You are definitely covered. J. Ukonao.
Welcome back. We continue to inform you. Time for business news now.
Well, Kenya has urged Japan to remove both tariff and non-tariff barriers, continue to limit the entry of Kenyan agricultural goods such as avocados, tea and flowers into the Japanese market.
President William Ruto, who is on an official tour of Japan, says trade between Kenya and Japan is heavily tilted in favor of Japan due to numerous trade restrictions.
Kenya's exports to Japan remain disproportionately $70 million in 2024 compared to $1 billion in Japanese goods entering the Kenyan market. While bilateral trade has grown by 33% in the past year, the structure of that growth continues to favor Japan, locking Kenyan producers out of higher value segments of the global supply chain.
I am pleased to state, that if the Kenyan economy were a living body, its vital organs would confirm robust health. We are now ranked the 6th largest economy in Africa. Our inflation has declined significantly from 9.6% in 2002 and last month. In fact, 8% earlier this year, and we are well on placing ourselves among the stable, vibrant economies in Africa.
With over 123 Japanese companies currently operating in Kenya, President William Ruto says the foundation for a stronger commercial partnership already exists, calling on Japan to relax its numerous trade restrictions for Kenyan goods. Ruto has highlighted several transformative Japanese investments in infrastructure and energy, such as the expansion of the port of Mombasa and the Olkaria geothermal plant, as examples of the high impact potential of bilateral cooperation.
So, as an industry, you should get your members to engage with government, with the executive, with the legislature, in the formal channels that we have established.
Addressing the Yokohama City Assembly, President Ruto has welcomed the signing of a statement of intent to issue a samurai bond. This is expected to be Kenya's entry into yen-dominated debt instruments, which will help diversify Kenya's resource mobilization strategy.
13 county aggregation industrial parks will be ready out of the 45. We are expecting industry to work with us in operationalizing these county aggregation industrial parks so that you can work with us together with other actors in defining what kind of common user facilities do we need in these spaces.
President Ruto has also invited investors to the upcoming Kenya International Investment Conference set for March 2026 in Nairobi, and called for a new era of economic engagement focused on balanced trade, sustainable development, and joint industrial growth.
Now, the transfer of company shares in special economic zones will not attract capital gains if a bill proposed by the government is adopted by Parliament.
Investment Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan says to incentivize the export zones, plans are underway to extend tax breaks to cover shareholding and housing projects around the SIZ to incentivize export zones.
The government exempted transfer of property in the special economic zones from capital gain tax in efforts to incentivize the zones. Plans to extend the tax breaks to transfer of shares are underway, with the government planning to draft a legislation that will exempt transfer of company shares from capital gain tax.
Last year we had provided for, in 2023, for removal of capital gain tax in the transfer of property in the CESA program. I think that the stakeholders, they wanted that definition to include also no capital gain tax on transfer of shares.
In a raft of tax measures, Investment Principal Secretary Abubakar Hassan says tax breaks extended to special economic zones will also cover residential buildings constructed around the economic zones, provided they offer housing to employees working at the economic zones.
So we want to provide clarity that unless if the buildings are to be traded or to be leased, then they cannot get the benefits. However, if you're just building you're putting buildings to accommodate the employees, then they can benefit from the CESA.
The PS was speaking during the official launch of the Kifaru Exim SEZ Limited that will offer warehousing services to electronic manufacturers at the Tattoo City.
The space is around 100,000 square feet, which has 9 warehouses, and each warehouse is around 10,000 square feet, roughly 10 to 11,000 square feet. So total the built-up area is 100,000 square feet, roughly.
If we remember the history of Kenya, we've had a bit of conflict between industries and residential places, where residential places have been complaining in the past that industries have encroached and vice versa. So setting up a manufacturing plant in a place like this, Tattoo City, that is well planned, we can guarantee any investor that even in the next 20, 30 years, there will be no conflict in terms of encroachment.
The facility is the 40th SEZ licensed enterprise to operate in Tattoo City. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
All right, time for another breather, but when we circle back.
Interestingly, the gentleman who just left the screen, that is the Principal Secretary, State Department for Investment Promotion. That is Abubakar Hassan. Abubakar is our guest tonight. And the conversation picks up from policy to payoff. And that's the conversation we'll be having with him at the other end of a break. Don't go too far. We're coming back shortly.
Kenya Ports Authority manages and operates the Port of Mombasa, the Port of Lamu, Kisumu Port, inland container depots in Nairobi and Naivasha, and ferry services. In 2024, cargo throughput at the Port of Mombasa hit a record 41 million metric tons, with container traffic for the first time surpassing the 2 million 20-foot equivalent unit mark. More than numbers, this is about progress. From wheat that carries Kenya's name across the world, from the mobile phone in your hands to the produce that feeds our families. Our ports keep East Africa's trade moving, our markets supplied, and our people connected. Kenya Ports Authority, growing business, enriching lives.
We are real people who give real care. Visit www.definiteassurance.com or email info@definiteassurance.com for more information, or contact 0708-247-247 or 0788-247-247. Definite Assurance. You are definitely covered. J. Ukonao.
Dukani usitishe unga, itisha Kavagara.
Kenya's first tintable waterproofing paint.
From the listed housing developments, select your preferred location and apply for a housing unit to begin your journey towards home ownership. Prices start from 640,000 Kenya shillings. Visit Boma Yangu at www.bomayangu.go.ke. Brought to you by Affordable Housing Board. Makao Bora, Jukumu letu.
Tonight we speak to the Principal Secretary, the State Department for Investment Promotion, as Abubakar Hassan Abubakar, and we're looking wholly into the investment space and what gains the government has been able to make. Thank you very much, PS, for joining.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John.
How is work?
Good.
How are special economic zones shaping Kenya's global investment agenda?
In the global investors, they are looking for an incentivized regime in any country they go. So, and that is why in Kenya, the president came up with this special economic zone program, so that investors can come and produce competitively in Kenya, so that we can be able to access the market that the president has opened for this country. You are aware, currently, we have the EAC market and the US market. What the president has done now, he has expanded it to the UK market. We have an economic partnership agreement with the UK, and now we have an economic partnership agreement with the European Union. He has extended it to the comprehensive economic partnership agreement with the UAE. Currently has also negotiated for the China market, so that our goods can be able to access the China market. But for us, for investors out there, the global investors, to access this market, they need to come and set up and produce here. So they need an incentive regime that will be able to make them produce competitively and become globally competitive to access this market.
Among all the incentives, which ones have proven to be most effective?
Comprehensively, the investors are happy with all the incentives that have been granted. What they're looking now is for stability. So these incentives must exist, should not be changed for the next 10 to 20 years. So they're looking for predictability and stability, and that is what we've done last year in our Tax Laws Amendment Act, although the interpretation of the investors was like it was mostly limiting rather than making it unchanged. So the President has directed us that this year we must clarify that we are providing that stability. But when you invest in a special economic zone program, one is there is 100% foreign ownership. Two, there is 100% investment deduction. Three, you can repatriate your capital freely. In terms of your production, whatever you are producing, the corporate tax is 10% for the first 10 years, and then after you can go to 15 to 20. In terms of when you are importing things for you to produce, they are not subject to any custom duty, VAT or excise. So whatever you're importing into the special economic zone, you don't pay taxes. Any value addition you do, and then when you export it, there are also no taxes. So all those in totality, they are making our special economic zone program attractive for the global investors.
So how do you respond to the political banter that businesses are closing in Kenya owing probably to the taxation regime or the incentives not being so good?
You know, in a business cycle, it's like a human being, from birth to death. So any business, one day or the other, will come to an end. And that is why in a business ecosystem, there are framework for business entry, and there are framework for business death, like insolvency and liquidation. So in Kenya, so far for the last 2.5 years, under the President Ruto's administration, we've been able to register business. 350,000 businesses have been registered. 350,000 businesses. Out of that, 500 of them are foreign companies. Okay? And if you look within the 2.5 years, only 160 companies are having challenges because we have the data. They are under administration or they are financially distressed. So if you should not look at those which are having problems, but look at how many new investments is coming. Having problems is inevitable, not because of the business environment, but because of other factors like you cannot compete. Yeah, maybe there is a mismanagement in the company. Maybe there is a technological innovation that has come up which you cannot match. So there are many reasons why a business can downsize or close, not only government interventions. Yes.
Investment has been a key highlight in some of the bilateral engagements between the government and foreign partners. How are these bilateral agreements fitting into the bottom-up economic transformation agenda?
All right. So in terms of our economy, the beauty about the strength of our economy is that it is diversified from agri to manufacturing and services. And the President has put the macroeconomic indicators in shape. We now have a low inflation regime. We have forex reserves which are very healthy. We have the interest rates are coming down. So the macros are very stable. What we are currently doing, we are just converting now the macros to the micros. So in terms of the areas, the sector-specific areas, what we are targeting is under our bottom-up economic transformation agenda. We have 6 objectives, but one of the most important objectives is creation of jobs. So we are looking for investment in sectors that are labor intensive. So we are targeting, for example, investment in the textile and manufacturing. We are targeting investment in the BPO space, right? And so that is where we are targeting. But of course, we have 10 priority value chains in our bottom-up economic transformation agenda with the cross-cutting enablers, physical enablers, that we are packaging them for investment.
These bilateral agreements, do they come with direct job creation being part of the government's pledge before elections?
Yeah. I think especially in those sectors which are labor intensive. For example, let me tell you, under this administration, the President was to the IAU. He was in the AU, and we met Chinese investors who wanted to set up in Ethiopia. He managed to convince them. They came here. They set up a factory in Machakos. They employed 3,200 youth. with that, they have already expanded into our EPZ site in Athi River. They have built 100 square meters of industrial sheds with a potential right now to create another 7,000 jobs. And now they are expanding to our Muranga EPZ to build more industrial sheds. So you can see the value chain from promotion to an investor setting up to expansion. But it's only one. Secondly, when the president was in China, he managed to get another investors still in the government sector. He came here. He set up in Kilifi. It's called Fuhua. He's employing 3,000 youth there, and now he has expanded to another site, the same place, to 10,000 jobs. And I would like you to now to cover those, because those we can clearly see from promotion to set up to actual expansion. There's another one when he went to China. It's called Zendek. They're focusing on government for pharmaceutical. They have set up in Tatu City. They are employing 2,000 youth, and they have expanded to their own special economic zone, where now they are in the pipeline of 10,000 youth to be employed. In the BPO sector, you've seen the president went to Tatu City to open the CCI, which was employing a lot of youth in the BPO space. Teleperformance is also setting up in Athi River Special Economic Zone. So those sectors which are labor intensive, that is our focus area.
Speaking to you at the creation of the State Department, you were talking about some of the reforms that the State Department will be seeking. Among the reforms that have been able to achieve in pushing through, which ones have been more effective?
Okay, for example, in the tech space, we always, our message out there is that the Kenya is open for business, ready for business, and safe for business. So when you say we are open, the investors in the tech space, they had a restriction, a foreign ownership restriction. When they come, they have to part with 30% local ownership. So the president opened that up. So there's a policy of opening up the area in the tech space, and we're seeing a lot of tech companies setting up in Kenya. To an extent, right now we have been declared a startup hub in Africa. For 2 years in a row, Kenya has been rated #1 in terms of startup funding, and that startup funding is in the tech space. The second reform is for those investors who have already set up here. One of their challenges was how can they get at least some protection for them to build up their capacity. We introduced the levy, where we want to protect them from cheap imports, and that has helped them in trying to stabilize their businesses and retain the jobs which were here. Thirdly, for example, in the energy space, the president has lifted the issue of power purchase agreements. There was a moratorium there, but he has lifted it. He has even opened it up. Right now, you can do captive power for your own consumption, or you can do captive power for an industrial park. So you don't have to get power from Kenya KPLC. So those are the things which we have opened up to attract investments.
All right. So how are you leveraging on regional integration to create investment corridors in this region?
First, one of our leverage area is that we are the largest economy in this region, right? And that is what we market out there. That we are the largest economy, an economy with 300 million people, and if you invest in Kenya, you can be able to access this market. But bilaterally, we are also engaging with them to remove the non-tariff barriers, because we are a common external. We have a common external tariff. We are a custom union, but trade in between themselves sometimes have custom non-tariff barriers, which we always engage to remove, so that there's free flow of goods and capital and people within the East African region.
But even as you talk about the efforts that the State Department is doing, of course, in engaging with countries in this region, how then do you respond to some of the things we've seen, for example, with our neighbors Tanzania, passing laws in parliament that prohibit the investment or the doing of business cross-border?
But you guys have been saying that investment are moving from Kenya to that place, and you can see that place is being closed. It's not open for business, right? Because they are putting some prohibition. But that prohibition, we know that it is affecting Kenyan businesses, and we have opted. The approach is we do not want to retaliate. We have opted for a diplomatic way to resolve it. We are hopeful that it will be lifted, that prohibition of business. Yeah, we don't know what's going on there for them to do such a law to prohibit certain businesses, but we are hopeful that it will be lifted.
What role does green investment play in Kenya's investment strategy?
Green investment, the assessment was done, and we believe that our economy will grow at a higher rate when we attract green investment. First of all, you are aware that Nairobi is the green capital of the world, is the environmental capital of the world. We host UNEP. And also, the president is championing the green transition agenda. This is where climate conversation is happening. We hosted the Africa Climate Summit, and the president came up with three initiatives. One is the Association of Renewables, Partnership for Renewable in Africa. He also came up with the Green Industrialization Agenda Initiative, Africa Green Industrialization Initiative, to fast-track green investment. And third one, he has also come up with a green investment fund supported by World Bank. Right now, we have a seed capital of $40 million. So we want to crowd in the money from other foreign investors to $200 million so that we can support green investment. So what this administration has done so far, we have already approved the green policy fiscal framework. The cabinet has approved that. The cabinet has also approved the sovereign green bond framework for us to issue green bonds, the treasury bonds which are green in nature. But where we are focusing on is in the opportunity for investment is on the renewables. Our renewable energy, and two is in the transport sector. We are targeting the e-mobility sector. So we already have approved the e-mobility policy, which we have seen now a lot of uptake for green cars. I think it almost 100% increase. So that is where we are going, targeting the renewable energy, transport sector, and the waste to managing of waste to energy.
How does the State Department engage the private sector and act on some of the feedback that comes from these engagements?
In fact, this State Department mandate, one of its mandates is to continuously engage the private sector to identify challenges to be addressed and opportunities to be unlocked. So what we do after engaging them, their issues can either need three types of intervention. It can either be a policy intervention, a legal intervention, or an administrative intervention. For those legal interventions, so far we have put all their issues in the Finance Act of 2023, the Tax Laws Amendment Act of 2024. In 2024, we also had a Business Laws Amendment Act, and we have another Business Laws Amendment Bill at the Senate. The President, last month, after the Presidential Roundtable, he had said we need to fast-track another Business Laws Amendment Bill for this year so that we can be able to address those issues. So we engage them on a continuous basis, but mostly we engage the private sector associations at the centralized level. Now the President has directed us to disseminate that. And under the guidance of the Minister, we have come up with a program called Boresha Biashara Mashinani. The inaugural one we've started in Nakuru. So we want now to go to the ground, to the counties, to listen to the businesses themselves, business people themselves, business community, rather than their business association. So that now the next presidential roundtable the issues will be comprehensive enough for strategic intervention.
The potential of special economic zones, EPZs, and the whole investment space cannot be gainsaid in terms of growing a country's GDP. Yet, when you listen to banter, it appears to be one of the most ignored spaces. What can you tell us about the potential of SEZs and EPZs and the investment space?
Not only growing the Kenyan economy, but growing the Kenyan economy so that the people can benefit in terms of jobs. You know, the President has put 3 programs for jobs creation for their youth. One is jobs kwa ground, jobs maju, and jobs kwa mitandao. So in terms of jobs kwa ground, there's a program for affordable housing jobs, and also there's a program for industrial jobs. So far, this special economic program and the EPZ program, the incentivized economic zone, have For the last 2.5 years, we've been able to manage to create 30,000 direct jobs. We have licensed operational entities. There are now 90 operational businesses which have created 30,000 jobs in our Special Economic Zone program and EPZ program.
Based on the tools given, 2.5 years later, as a PS in charge of the State Department for Investment Promotion, what is your scorecard?
Okay, based on the tools which have been given under my toolkit, I've been given 4 tools. One is the business environment tool. I have that directorate. The second one is incentivize programs, which is the SEZ and the EPZ. The third one is a promotion tool, it is Kenya Investment Authority. And the fourth tool is the de-risking tool, which is the KDC. So, for example, under the business environment tool, we've been able for the last 2.5 years to come up with over 30 fiscal incentives, business fiscal incentives to be able to attract businesses and investment into this country. Under the Kenya Investment Authority, the facilitation of foreigners to this country, we've been able for the last 2.5 years to facilitate over 300 investments, which created around other 30,000 jobs out of the zones. Okay? Under Special Economic Zone program and EPZ program, we've been able to license, and for example, SEZ, we have licensed 70 entities. 40 of them are operational, creating 10,000 jobs. Under EPZ program, we have licensed 75 enterprise. 50 of them are operational, creating 20,000 jobs. So under the incentivized regime, we've been able to create 30,000 direct jobs. Under the KDC, under the de-risking tool, we've been able to de-risk. We have been able to advance 6 billion Kenya shilling to de-risk financial risk for investors to come. For the first time, we have been able even to de-risk investment in Lamu County. Lamu County, now we've been able to attract a 1 billion investment in the cotton ginnery, where we had this investor. You know, Lamu County is in terms of cotton production, is #1 in Kenya. But they have to, whatever they are producing, they have to take it all the way to Makueni ginnery. So we've been talking, since I came in, we have been talking to the investor on how to set up a ginnery. But the problem has been the risk. How do we de-risk that before the investor can put his money? So it's a 1 billion investment. So we asked the investor, how much do you have? He said just 100 million. So what we did, and for the banks, they said we cannot put money unless we see the government skin in the game. So what we did, first with the help of the UK government, under their SUD program, the one which is focusing on urban development, we talked to them to come up with an industrial finance program to de-risk. So they had agreed, and we had signed off for that program all over the country. But I'm giving you an example on how we've used it in Kenya, in Lamu. So under that investment, we have been able to give them a grant, first of all, of 80 million Kenya shilling, thanks to the UK government. And then KDC comes to do a concessionary loan of less than 10%. Of 250 million. Then from that, the lenders saw now this thing has been properly de-risked. We got NCBA to give them 500 million, and then the investor himself gave 100 million. So it's a 1 billion investment financed through a blended finance ecosystem set up in a risky area in Lamu, where the minister has already done the groundbreaking, and then before the end of the year, the ginnery will be up and running, and the president will go to launch it.
As we wind up, PS, let me allow you to have your final say.
My last word is I want to tell Kenyans that investors are bullish about this country. What we need from you is to have faith with the president. The president is doing all what he can to make sure we are attracting those investments. He has already profiled us. He has put us on the global map. So the investors are knocking doors. Please, let's not scare them away. To tell them that this is the place to be. Let them come, put their money and create jobs for you Kenyans.
And this is how we put a cap on our interview on Prime Edition. We've been speaking to the PS Investment Promotion, Abubakar Hassan Abubakar, and as you've heard, I have an assignment to do. I will do it.
Je, unataka kumiliki nyumba? Karibu boma yangu. mpango maalum wa serikali ya Kenya unaowapa Wakenya wote fursa ya kumiliki nyumba kwa bei nafuu. Tuko na miradi kote katika taifa la Kenya. Kwa kuweka amana ya 5% ya bei ya nyumba pamoja na kiwango cha riba cha kudumu, safari yako ya kumiliki nyumba inang'oa nanga. Ingia kwenye tovuti ya eCitizen au bonyeza *832 alama ya reli. Jisajili kwa kulipa shilingi 200 pekee, kisha uanze kuwekeza kupitia malipo ya simu au kadi za benki ili kutimiza kiwango cha amana kinachohitajika. Kwenye orodha ya miradi, chagua eneo linalokupendeza, jaza fomu ya maombi, kisha uchague makao yako. Mgao utakapofanywa, utafahamishwa. Bei zinaanzia 640. Tembelea tovuti ya www.bomayangu.go.ke. Imeletwa kwako na Bodi ya Nyumba za Bei Nafuu. Makao bora, jukumu letu.
Haro, atikufika mnafika na msimami. Sasa nitapika nini cha haraka? Kabagara chap chap.
Aya, kwani kumeendaje mama?
Mbaki hapo ukiuliza.
Huyo ni
sasa amepita ndukinduki.
Uzuri wa raha premium Kavagara, dakika 5 tu ugali imeiva. Ati mtoke kwangu kama hamjakula.
Aisha, kwa nini imeiva haraka aje?
Kuletea Kavagara nayo. Kila kitu kiko sawa na raha premium.
Aya, yani tumeuza pickup mzima saa hii. Imeisha.
Ai, kila mtu anataka kununua kwako.
Siri ni hii, mimi hupanda na palilia na dhabiti CAA au dhabiti urea. Na bas, matokeo ni mazao ya ajabu.
Thabiti Algon Fertilizer is your surest partner in successful farming. Thabiti is available in various sizes that suit your pocket. Algon Kenya, transforming farms and lives through technology.
Anaichanja ndani uzuri David!
Michuano ya CAF ya mataifa ya Afrika 2024 ni njia ya kuzindua kupanua mtandao wa wachezaji ulimwenguni. Timu itakayoshinda itazawadiwa dola za Marekani milioni 3.5 pamoja na kujivunia kulinyanyua kombe hilo. Pata manufaa zaidi kutoka kwa CHAN 2024 mubashara na kipute cha kipekee kwenye runinga ya KBC Channel 1, mwenzio wa dhati michezoni.
Kenya's first tintable waterproof in paint.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome. Welcome to Prime Edition Sports. And more football fans may get the chance to enter the Kasarani Stadium to watch the Africa Nations Championship quarter-final game between Kenya's Harambee Stars and Madagascar on Friday evening after the Football Kenya Federation appealed to CAF to revise the stadium capacity from the current 60% to full capacity. In addition, the government through FKF and the local organizing committee have increased the number of official fan zones from the current 10 to 13.
Match day in Group A of the Total Energies African Nations Championship is underway.
After successful progression of Harambee Stars from the group stages to the quarterfinals, the hunger is growing for fans to watch the game between Kenya and Madagascar, which will kickstart the quarterfinal stage of the 2024 African Nations Championship. Despite the previous game against Morocco being marred by fans forcing their way into the stadium, the game against Zambia was seamless with efficient security operations, orderly entry and exit of fans, which has forced Kenya to request for a revision of the capacity during the game against Madagascar.
I urge all Kenyans to maintain the high spirits, to maintain the spirits of unity and support our team. This is a moment that Harambee Stars requires all Kenyans to rally behind them. And as you can already see, Friday is a must win. And therefore we rally all Kenyans, to support our team.
The number of fan zones has also been increased to 13, with other areas set in Changamwe Volleyball Grounds, St. Mary's, Bangladesh, Mamangina Waterfront, Hassan Joe Stadium and Bilima Grounds. Confirmed that the ticketing issue experienced will be resolved on time.
CAF is also sorting the issues of the tickets. I think there was an issue yesterday and they are working on it. I'm sure they will be announcing soon how people can access the tickets on the portal. Otherwise, everything else is okay.
Harambee Stars will play Madagascar in the first quarter-final on Friday at the Kasarani Stadium, before Tanzania play Morocco in the second quarter-final at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium on Friday night. On Saturday, Uganda will face Senegal in the third quarter-final at the Mandela National Stadium, before Sudan quarter-final on Saturday night at Amani Stadium.
We have seen how CHAN 2024 has been an opportunity for us to profile our country, to profile our talents, and therefore we want to continue with that trajectory, without invoking negative politics into it.
The two semi-finals will be played next Tuesday, the final on Saturday next week, a day after the third-place playoff encounter.
And Sudan and Senegal played out a tense Bahrain draw to qualify for the quarterfinals of the ongoing African Nations Championship, CHAN in Group D. Sudan, unbeaten under Kwesi Appiah, topped the pool on goal difference, while champion Senegal settled for second. Frederick Moki has the details.
The African Nations Championship CHAN 2024 reads its knockout phase with the quarter-final fixtures confirmed after a dramatic final round of group matches on Tuesday night.
After this, a one-on-one, down he goes. Referee.
Sudan settled for a Bahrain draw with reigning champions Senegal.
That the final whistle, says the Zimbabwean referee Brighton Chimene. And with that, Sudan secured top spot in Group D. They qualify for the knockout stages alongside Senegal.
Sudan will remain in Zanzibar to meet Algeria on Saturday afternoon, while Senegal head to Kampala for the quarter-final showdown with Uganda Cranes. Harambee Stars, who are making their maiden appearance in the continental showpiece, finished top of Group A. The Stars will remain in Nairobi to face Madagascar this Friday at Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. Stars also finished top from Group B and will face Morocco in Dar es Salaam as co-host Uganda play against Senegal on Saturday. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
That's the sport, and because there's a little break from CHAN, doesn't mean that sport is dead. Happening right now in Lausanne is a Diamond League meeting. Emmanuel Wanyonyi is in action at 10:23 in the 800 meters. So that's part of the stories that we'll be carrying for you tomorrow. But remember, CHAN, iko KBC. My name is Daniel Wahome. Back to JJ and Doreen.
Iko KBC, and Friday we'll be showing that match between Harambee Stars and Madagascar.
I'm about to prompt an amen from you. Say amen.
Okay.
So we are participating in the Diamond League. So it looks like it's Kenya's time to shine. That's why you say amen.
Amen.
And then on Friday we have Madagascar. Say amen.
Hallelujah.
Time for us to put a cap on this bulletin. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Good night.
And I'm Doreen Arange. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter. Have a good night.
Something that drives us to become the people we are, the people we care most about. Thanks to Madison Better Life Medical Cover, your family can now have access to the best care 24/7. Go ahead, take on the world with Madison Better Life Medical Cover today. Call us today on 0709 922 666. Madison Group, life without worry.
Here at the Kenya Bureau of Standards, we do not just set the standards, we set the pace.